I can beat Jack 10 with the Jack of clubs.
World-class player in action, calling his exact hand.
That's a read.
Vicky's got jacks in the big blind.
I know it's tempting to 3-bet and thin the herd here a bit.
Raise.
And that's what she's doing.
But jacks play totally fine post-flop, and you don't really want to reopen the action. Jack's so hard to play.
Shemian, the original raiser, has ace-10 offsuit. He folds.
All right, so he's not a total maniac raising under the gun.
Khalisadu is re-raising. That's a 4-bet to 14,200.
And I just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
Sims is out. He had queen 8. Vicky wants to see Sadu's stack.
Well, this move is what me and the boys downtown like to call the back raise, and from anyone but all of this is pretty much never a bluff.
This is a curious one.
The curious case of Benjamin closest to the button.
You've been so quiet all this time. And now you suddenly make this play.
Vicky is sniffing this out like a cheap cologne, and for once it's not mine. Also, I agree with her. This seems fairly obv.
Okay. Seeing as it's you.
She folds. And as suspected, Khalisadu had a monster. Pocket kings.
Well, I don't really recommend 3-bet folding a hand as strong as Jack's very often, but she did get a lot of information.
It's been a long time since I did one of these. Raising UTG.
In this hand, we're going to sweat with David Van Plu.
What'd you do? Call me? Attaboy. None of that crazy stuff.
So we know Vamps has queens,
Good call.
but we don't know what Negreanu is raised under the gun with.
And under the gun, we do have to pay it a little bit of respect. By calling, we get to deceive. Right now, we're mostly repping suited connectors and pocket pairs.
There's a king-high flop. Negreanu continues for 4,200.
King didn't have to hit him.
What I used to call the ace-queen flop. It comes king 8-3 or king 8-4, king 8 deuce when I had ace-queen. Back in the day when I played limit hold'em. Couldn't fold.
Van Plu calls. And there's another king on the turn.
I like that king a little bit more than the first one. It's harder for Daniel to have one, plus he just checks, so I think we can bet this if we want.
Van Plu does bet 9,000.
9?
Daniel Negreanu calls. We go to the river.
Gulp. I'm suspicious of what Daniel can call here with that we're actually beating.
5 of clubs. Flush just got there.
Not a good card for us. It also eliminates all but a few of the hands we could have been beating.
Action's been checked to Van Plu. He could just check behind.
Going for the thin value that was happening right here. Like 2 jacks or something stupid, or you got... What do you have? 2 jacks or pocket 8s. 8's full, that would be good.
When Daniel starts talking, it feels like he's looking for a check, so maybe we just bet small.
How much is it?
20,000.
Yeah, that wasn't small.
You don't have the king of clubs, so that means you don't have kings with a flush draw. So you either, only hand that beats me is 8's full, or if you floated and then made the flush. So I don't think I can throw it away. But you're not bluffing. Maybe you have king queen. I gotta call you.
You're a king, then it wins.
Yeah.
Daniel does have a king. Ace king.
Somebody take Grandma to the bowling alley because that was a slow roll. I don't think Daniel's ever folding there. Not sure what took him so long to call.
I'm just gonna call because I don't wanna. Yeah. I don't wanna see any raises. I don't wanna see anything. Let's just play a nice game. Oh, I'm not supposed to speak.
Mike Hill got ace-king. Looking like he's not going to listen to Romano and is indeed going to raise, and good for him. Punish the limpers.
Looks like it's going to get rid of everybody else.
You never have enough, do you? I gave you some chips and now you want to take more.
And he is going to flat call Mike's raise.
70. What you got? Have you got kings again? You probably would do you? I hope I'm not going to see a king or an ace there.
Nobody is going to see top pair. Never misses.
Apparently not. The cards are definitely in his favour today.
Check, check it goes. And 7 doesn't change anything. Romano's still in front.
I'll give you one more chance.
He's playing very trappy.
One more chance, go on.
Luring the chips out of Mike Hill.
And Mike will not be lured. He eschews the betting option. We'll go to the river. Finally, Romano's going to bet it.
I don't know. Maybe this is a mistake.
Not too much, right?
Maybe it's
I
a
won't
mistake.
call a lot.
Maybe it's a mistake.
I do like the way Romano talks to his opponents, trying to tilt them, get them to make a bad play. In this case, trying to get Mike to call.
Have some of that.
You could have anything.
Or maybe even better than that. It's a possible flush.
That's pretty funny. How does Mike not laugh? Romano knows it's not a possible flush. He's just amusing himself at this point.
Can I say I could have ace and king? I can say that.
Just say anything you want.
I could have ace and king. It just upsets you because you might be forced to give me those chips because you have ace and king and you think I have nothing.
Oh, he's called his hand. This man is tinged with
Maybe we're
genius.
splitting the pot. If you have two pairs.
Never has a man worked harder for a
Either way
river
you
call
do.
than Romano. He's trying to earn these chips.
I think I would have called him as well by now. I'd be so tilted.
He's relying on that because he does sound like he's begging. He's going to get him, look. Oh, Mike.
You want me? Give it to me. I
Yeah,
knew
that's
you had
it.
ace and king. You're thinking about it too long.
2 raises to 13,000. 3 folds.
Another big pocket pair for Ionut Vornea. Year of Romania.
Pocket tens.
4 and 5 will fold, actually. 6. 6 folds and 7.
Aces for sure.
Uh-oh. This spells disaster.
7 raises to 45,000.
At this stage in the tournament, pocket tens is not a hand that you're going to easily get away from.
Pass. Action back to C2.
Do you necessarily want to play for stacks right now? Is it too weak just to call?
And a call from 2.
Just a flat from Voynia.
Interesting. I mean,
Who's the next first?
calling greater than 10% of your stack pre-flop with pair of tens certainly can still have the best hand a lot of the time, but it will put you in some really tough spots post-flop. And this is definitely a good-looking flop for aces. You're going to get tons of action from more speculative hands. Queen 10, King Queen, King Jack, 9-10, suited, etc.
Shaw has checked his aces. Voynia has the tens.
C2.
Backdoor straight possibilities, and he's betting.
I have to say this check is absolutely masterful. If you look at how much money was in the pot before this bet was made on the flop, he knows he can get the chips in by the river. He doesn't have to start building a pot now. This is a dry board, effectively. There's not too many bad turns for him here. And a call. I love this play. I love this play. Being aware of your ability to get the chips in on later streets when you have aces on this kind of a texture is how you're going to get max value from a hand like aces. And the 6 is an absolute dream turn as well. Your opponent is very rarely going to have trips in this situation. And of course, if he had a hand like Jack-9 suited or whatever, you've just counterfeited him, and he's still going to put the chips in regardless to try and protect his hand and or get value from a pre-flop dominating Jack.
So he checks a second time. Wojnia is not slowing down. He's betting again.
I mean, it's so hard. If you're going to play tens this way, it's so hard not to bet this turn because you think he's floating with ace king, you think he's floating with ace queen, you think he's got overcards of some variety. But I think he knows at this point that he's played the hand well. Now, what he does on the river here, this will make the hand.
I mean, you played the hand well. You're just looking for the cherry on top now. How do I get max value on the river?
That's right. I mean, and I'm assuming it's got to be a check on that queen river, right? He's got to go for the trap one more time because the queen connects with so many of the hands that he wants to barrel flop turn. With a hand like tens, though, he'll just try and take it to showdown, of course. It's going to go check on the river. I don't see any other way out. The reason he was barreling flop in turn is because he was worried about the queen coming at some points. And he does win a nice big pot there.
Adds 112k to his stack. Shaw now playing 374,000.
Action on Ludovic Geilich under the gun +1.
There's a reason why Ludovic and Geilich both rhyme with sick.
Raising with 6-3 offsuit. Ace-Jack for Shavik.
This is a fine spot to call, or you can 3-bet the live wire. Either way. You know, before I said Jan Shavik looked like an off-duty chef, but now I'm thinking it's more like a ninja that suddenly lost a lot of weight.
You should probably stop thinking.
Hasn't had time to replace the wardrobe yet.
He calls. King-Queen suited for Leo McLean in the big blind.
This is more of a flat call spot for Leo, even though a 3-bet is tempting with a hand as sexy as queen suited.
Cool. He does call. 3-way to the flop. King 10-10. McLean with the best hand. Shavik with a draw. Geilich with a total bagolino.
Check.
Action check to the aggressor.
Playing in flow. This is a pretty bad spot to bet. It's a very connected board, and he's going to have almost no equity when he gets called.
Ludo continuing for 31,000.
Also, a guy like Ludo is going to get floated a lot.
Call.
Shavik is in with his gut shot.
And it looks like Ludo is going to get looked up by 100% of his opponents.
Sure enough, McLean calls as well. 3-way to the turn. And that card is the ace of spades, meaning Shavik is now in the lead.
And meaning Geilich is officially drawing dead, or as his people would say, deed.
Check.
Shavik checks.
Leo can't bet.
He checks as well.
But we know Ludo can. Ludo wants to win every single pot, so he's going to bet here. It will work sometimes, but a lot of the time you're just going to get called down.
With 0% equity, he bets 98,000.
And this only works if your opponents are terrified of you, and I don't know how they could be, except for I just remembered they haven't been seeing his hole cards. Surely Shavik's going to call a top pair, and draws to a boat and the nut straight.
He folds!
Wow. Now it's just up to Leo. Now, we have the benefit of knowing all the cheese Geilich's been playing, but I don't think these guys are aware of it yet. Leo may think he's drawing nearly dead already.
There's also that fear if he does call here that he might be facing an even bigger bet on the river. McLean folds! Wow! You gotta love watching this guy play. The bluff gets through. He gets 2 better hands to fold. At the main feature table, Ryan Reese is in the big blind, facing a raise from Bryn Kenny.
This is a fun hand to take a flop with, especially if you're the best in the world.
He calls with the suited Jack-9. Kenny ahead with King-Queen. The flop, 9 high. Top pair for Reese. He checks to the razor.
Love how he's playing it so far. Bryn likely to continue with his air ball. He's got lots of backdoors.
Bryn continues for 7,100.
Top pair, decent kicker. Ryan should be going nowhere.
He calls.
Look at Ryan Reese. He loves the game and he loves Bryn Kenny.
The turn card is the 7 of diamonds. Gives Kenny a flush draw.
Ryan checks a second time.
He's got the perfect hand to check call to showdown.
Kenny, having picked up equity on the turn, fires again, 16,500.
That's one of those backdoors I was talking about, but this bet is ripe for a call.
Ryan going for chips.
38.
He's raising. 38,000.
Check raise, more like black raise. This raise is just going to make Ryan lose more chips when he's already behind. Also, it opens him up being floated, which is exactly what I think is going to happen here.
Bryn calls the raise. There's now more than 100,000 in the pot. We go to the river, which is the 4 of hearts. So the board bricks out for Bryn Kenny. Ryan Reese still ahead. And now he checks.
Now there's a good chance he's going to face a big barrel from Bryn. I think Bryn's going to bet here most of the time.
Bryn Kenny bluffs the river for 63,500.
And even though Bryn missed, he would very likely play kings plus, sets, and flushes all the same way. Ryan's put himself in a weird spot. That check raise on the turn has forced him to play a bigger pot with a marginal hand.
Is he thinking of folding the winning hand?
It's gotta be.
He calls! Great call!
He had that planned all along.
Back at the feature table, Neil Farrell has 8-9 suited under the gun plus 2. He raises to 13,000. 5-7 off for Christoph de Mulder. He folds. Kimul Kirko is out. Rens Feenstra has just arrived at the feature table and he's got ace-king on the button.
This might be a 3-bet.
This is only Feenstra's second cash on the EPT. His first came in this event last year when he finished 140th. He does re-raise to 31k. Action folded back around to Farrell.
I think 9-8 suited is going to be around the very bottom of most people's calling ranges here, especially since Feenstra is new to the table and Neil may not know how he plays just yet.
Farrell calls. The flop is King 8. Trips for Feenstra.
This is a very bad flop for Neil. Very, very bad.
He has paired his 8. He checks to the razor. Feenstra continues for 23,000.
Farrell's going to have to call 1 bet, possibly 2.
He calls the 23k. 125,000 in the middle.
If Neil improves, he's going to be in big, big trouble.
It's a 3rd diamond on the turn, the queen of diamonds.
You'd think this diamond might kill some of the action, but in a 3-bet heads-up pot, you can't just immediately assume your opponent has a flush.
Also, Feenstra does have the ace of diamonds as insurance. He bets 68,000.
This is a great card for Neil to fold on simply because of board texture. Doesn't look like he's folding.
He decides to turn his hand into a bluff and raise to 169,000.
And I think this is only going to get other bluffs to fold, which will win him the pot sometimes, but I don't see any actual hands folding here.
Sure enough, Feenstra with his trip kings will call. We've got a huge pot now. The better part of $500,000.
Neil's going to have to bet huge on the river if he wants his bluff to work.
It's the inconsequential 5 of hearts. Looks like Farrell is betting.
And boom goes the dynamite.
A huge bluff, 326,000.
Sick bluff. I guess you could say the Scotsman has a brave heart. Oh, yeah. Honestly, I do not know how often this bluff's going to work. Especially against ace-king.
Feenstra looks kind of tortured. And he's folding!
Wow.
Farrell's audacious bluff gets through.
Back to the action at our feature table. We have a raise from Sam Razavi with ace-3 offsuit.
Sam's in the cutoff. See if he gets any action.
In the big blind, Gowdlitz has Jack-10 offsuit. It looks like he's going to defend. The effective stack is Mark Gowdlitz, who has just under 300,000, so 30 big blinds.
Interesting flop. Gowdlitz flops the flush draw, and Razavi with a gut shot and ace high. Gowdlitz will check.
I expect Sam is going to bet this. He doesn't want to give a free card to someone who has a club in their hand.
There's someone who has a club in their hand.
Yes, there is.
Right there.
And he does also have... He might well think he has the best hand as well with ace high. And he's got the gut shot to back it up.
Gowdlitz calls here. What's his plan, Liv?
I'm not quite sure what Gowdlitz's call is. I would rather... I mean, maybe he's intending to take it away on a later street. I don't think he thinks that Jack high is good.
Well, it goes check on the turn, and the 8 of hearts on the river doesn't change anything. Sam Razavi still has the best hand with ace high, but it looks like Gowdlitz is going to fire.
I mean, if Gowdlitz wants to take it down, this is the way to do it. I think if I was him, I would have probably check raised flop, but you've got to admire him for not giving up.
This is would be sick if I could. I can beat Jack-10 with the Jack of clubs, Queen-10.
That's a world-class player in action, calling his exact hand.
Yeah, hands up if you want to play poker with Sam Razavi.
No, thank you.
Let's see, one makes the call.
Wow. That's a read. That's a read right there.
Yeah, that was a read.
Jack-10 with the Jack of clubs.
Nice call, man.